Well, we're back. He's been in for his test and yes, the day has finally arrived when the 306, the accidental project, is going in for his MOT test. And when we last had this vehicle on the channel, I finished that last episode saying that I was going to replace the door handle because it had broken off in my hand. I was going to replace the washer jets because they weren't working properly, and I was also going to refit the fog lights. So where are we at now? Well, the door handle, yes, that's been replaced. I had to buy a new one because there were none available second-hand, which is probably a good thing really, because the door handles on these, they go brittle over time and then they break because they're just plastic. And this car is the third one I've had where the driver's door handle snapped. So I got a brand new one, and I managed to paint it and get a pretty damn good colour match off of it, which I'm really happy with. The finish on the paint, yeah, the finish on the paint could have been slightly better, simply because it doesn't shine as much as I would have liked. Maybe I didn't flat it down enough in between coats, or maybe I didn't put enough lacquer on after the paint was dry. I don't know, but I would have liked it to have shined a little bit more than it does. But the colour match is brilliant, so I can definitely live with that door handle. Then there's the washer jets, which now work fine. We had 1.5 jets working on the left, and we had 1 working on the right, which was never really going to work for me. So we've replaced them, and now we've got all 4 working. Although that one on the left just there, yeah, it's working. There we go. Although the wipers do this thing where they just start juddering at the top. Oh yeah, go on then, I'll go back down there, like. And it's odd because you put them on and they work. When they're on, they work. And they always park, you know. Use the jets, they're working fine, and then when they come to park, they do park. They just sometimes think twice about it, but they always park. So they're done. Fog lights are done, they just needed refitting, so that's great. And I mean, at that point I thought, you know, I'm done, I'm ready, you know, we're good to go. But we weren't good to go, because one thing I hadn't realised is that at some point in this car's life it's had some suspension work done, or it's had something done to it. I know it's got poly mounts on its wishbones, which is great, but at some point this car's had some suspension work done and it hasn't had its tracking set up, which meant that the tyres, which were brand new when I got the car, by the way, these brand new tyres were so worn on the inside edge that the left hand one was completely bald on the inside edge and the right hand one was almost the same, and they were never going to get through an MOT like that. So as new as these tyres were, I had no option but to replace them. So we went and got some new tyres for the front, which in itself was a little bit awkward because I couldn't just drive the car to a tyre place because the MOT ran out. I haven't driven this car for almost 6 months. You know, this MOT ran out back in February. So I had to take the tyres off, stick them in the back of Lex and drive to the tyre shop just with the wheels, you know. And whilst the wheels were off, I decided let's do the sensible thing and let's have a look at all of our suspension and steering components, etc. Only to discover that the drop links, the rubber boots on both drop links, were completely perished. And it's really frustrating because the ball joints on these drop links were absolutely fine. There was nothing wrong with them. There was no play in them at all. But because the manufacturer had cheaped out on the rubber boots, we had to replace both drop links. And whilst I was under there, whilst I was under there, I also noticed, well, I noticed what looked like CV grease on my hand. So I'm thinking, oh crap, I've got a CV boot split somewhere. So I checked the CV boots and they were absolutely fine. I'm thinking, what on earth's going on here? So I had to take a closer look. And this is on the left hand side, this is. The bottom ball joint was split. The boot on the bottom ball joint was split on the inside and you couldn't see it. But as I've run my fingers around to check for splits, I picked up some CV grease on my hand. So that had to get replaced. And then the track rod end had the same problem where the dust cover was split on the inside. So at this point I'm thinking, crikey, this is a suspension overhaul, this is. And the golden rule is, if you're going to replace a ball joint on one side, you should replace the same on the other side. Same with track rod ends, same with most of your steering and suspension components. So we had to put on new drop links, new ball joints and new track rod ends. And the tracking was already out. As I say, because of the tyres, the tracking was already out. I've driven in today, and if you look at the steering wheel, the tracking must be so out on this car now, because this wheel was nice and straight. I've had this wheel off several times, as you may know. I've done the clock spring on this car. I've had the clocks out. Yeah, this was nice and straight, and I've driven in today and it's like that. So I can only imagine how far out the tracking is on this car. But we're here. It's been a long road, it's taken a long time to get this far. I feel like I said the same thing when I took Lauren for her MOT, but it's a similar scenario. It's been a long journey, but we're here. So without further ado, I'm going to go and give them my key, and I guess I'll see you later, car. Well, we're back. He's been in for his test and he failed. He failed on something like, it was the near side headlamp. It was only the one thing that he failed on. Near side headlamp aim beam image being incorrect or something, words to that effect, essentially, that the image of the headlamp beam coming out wasn't correct. Now, the guy doesn't know what caused that, but credit where credit's due, the MOT man sorted it and passed us. So, yes, we failed our MOT, but then we've immediately gone and passed it. He said, look, my MOT man, he said, being the kind of guy he is, he says it's probably something to do with your bulb. Maybe you've got a smudge on your bulb, or most likely someone's put the bulb in upside down or something. Maybe the bulb wasn't seated properly or something. So he said, my MOT man, being the kind of person that he is, he's gone and sorted that for you, mate. So it's all done, all good to go. And I thought, ah, brilliant, right, and we can go. And then just as I was about to go, I remembered we need tracking doing, because of course that first set of tyres got chewed up from the fact that the tracking wasn't done previously. So I said to the guy, oh, I need to get my tracking done, thinking, he's gonna book me in for a day next week or something. And he said, all right, we can do it now if you want. He says, are you in a hurry? Nah, mate, I'm not in a hurry, but have you got the time to do it now? I was not expecting them to do it now. So again, credit where credit's due. The MOT guys sorted out that bulb, passed us, and the guys are like, yeah, we could fit you in now, mate, if you want to stick around for a bit. So yeah, I've sat around for another, it wasn't that long, 10-15 minutes. Tracking's done as well, so we're good to go. We're good to drive the 306 again. So there we go. MOT is done. The car's tax ran out yesterday. Yep, car's tax ran out yesterday, so we're still insured because of course I've got this car and Lexi on the same policy. So we've still got the insurance, MOT is done, tax ran out yesterday, so we need to go home and tax the car, which is fine because it's the first of the month. I don't mind taxing on the first of the month. and look at the state of this traffic. And then we'll be good to go. And who knows, now that I've actually got this car an MOT, which has been an uphill struggle in itself, but the fact that I've now got this car an MOT means that if you've followed the channel, you'll know this. The original purpose of this car was, I bought this car so that I could fix Lexi. She's got a head gasket problem. Only I never managed to get around to that. But who knows now? Maybe I can now finally do Lexi's head gasket.